Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's show. This is River Lee, the Savvy Groomer, doing this week's show of Grow Wealthy Grooming. Let me put my glasses on because I feel like I'm getting, woof, there we are. I know my hair is frizzed up. What's a girl gonna do, right? So I want to welcome everyone here wholeheartedly, whether this is the first time you're here or the 100th time here. So in this show, we do this weekly every Monday at 7 p.m. And what we talk about is about the grooming industry, or anybody in the pet industry, honestly, and all about how you can accumulate wealth while doing what you love, which is working with animals. So this week's topic is something I am a little passionate about. I think I'm always passionate about every week's topic. But can we talk about why in our industry there's this social pressure to become a business owner? There are so many talented groomers that could just be groomers. They don't have to be a business owner, and they can provide so much to the industry, to dogs, to cats, if you're a dog or a cat groomer, without needing to actually do the whole business owner. So I always talk about in my blogs or my videos 3 different categories. So we have our business owners, self-employed, and groomers, so employees. Let's talk about what an employee is first when I talk about it. And obviously we all know what an employee is. But when I talk about employee, I mean you gain employment from somebody else as a groomer. Pretty straightforward. You should be W-2. Self-employed groomers are either 1099s, and we're not going to get into the whole misclassified thing, but you're renting from a grooming salon, maybe you're renting in a vet's office or something like that, and then you're business owners. Now, it's very important to know that between self-employed groomer and a business owner, you really don't own a business until you have employees. And the reason why is because, let's be honest, self-employed groomers, you own your job. If you need time off, if for some reason you have to close, there's no one to pick up the slack. Now, you can be the only groomer and still be a business owner, but you have to have some sort of employee. And we can work towards that. That's something you're interested in. I do a lot of business coaching with people that don't want to ever hire another groomer, but they do want to be a business owner. I will say, if you want to maximize as a business owner your return on your business, the best way to do that is to hire more people, because there's only so many times that you can be actually physically at the business. But this focus of this talk today is about the social stigma in the grooming industry, which is fascinating to me. I've always been very entrepreneurial. My father was very entrepreneurial. My stepmother's entrepreneurial. My mother is not. She is a school teacher, and it was interesting to me because she actually told me she used to do Avon. And she said, I really don't have an entrepreneurial bone in my body, and I hate this. And I thought, wow, because as someone who's considers himself an entrepreneur, I always think to myself, I would rather have control over my money and make more, have the option to. But for her lifestyle always was, she wanted her weekends off. She wanted her summers off. And if you guys have any family members that are teachers, off, right? She wanted a set schedule, and she wanted to have a set time off, and she wanted to have more control of that in her life, and then just be able to enjoy her family. And that's a very different lifestyle choice. And what's interesting to me is, when I think about traditionally feminine jobs, I think of nursing, teachers. I'm not going to get into like fashion or anything like that, but they tend to be more steady, calm jobs, right? And even if you say like, oh, a hairdresser, well, as many of you guys know, most hairstylists don't own their own shop. They may rent a chair, but they're not encouraged generally to go out and get a $100,000 loan to go open up their own shop. Yet in the pet industry, women are almost always business owners. Whether you own a dog walking business, I own a dog walking business, and a lot of that industry, as well as the grooming industry, has a ton of illegal independent contractors. Dog training. Dog trainers are almost always by themselves unless there's a person that owns a training facility. And again, a lot of those training facilities are owned by women, which is amazing. I love that. But then you have the training facility and they might have daycare, they might have grooming, but the ones in my area, and I'd love to hear your area, what goes on there. They're going to have, one generally female owner because we're in the pet industry. And then, other dog trainers. I would say in the pet industry, if we want, I would actually have to double check, but I am 99% sure that the majority of dog trainers are women. Obviously, that's shifted, and it does depend upon if you include dog sports such as hunting, not just pet dog trainers. That might be interesting to find out. But for the most part, our industry is female run, which is amazing. I love that. I love the empowerment of that. But I also think the flip side of being a feminist is you don't have to own a business if you don't want to. We should, in this industry, give women the opportunity that if they do not want to own their own business, they don't have to. So let's talk about why owning a business seems like the only logical reason and why we can kind of debunk them a little bit. I'm going to keep drinking, if you guys don't mind, not drinking, but it's very dry today. And you might hear I'm losing my voice a little bit, so don't mind me. So if I go to a trade show, Hershey, if I go to Super Zoo, anywhere I go, they're going to sell you on the benefits of owning your own business, right? Well, what are those benefits they generally say? And they will tell you how you get to pick your own schedule. This is true in a little bit, let's be honest, because I get to, as a business owner, I get to set up the schedule for my business, right? If I want my business open Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday from 9 to 2, I can do that. I can absolutely do that. And if a client calls and wants to work, she wants me a Saturday appointment, then I have the flexibility to say yes or no, right? So that's one thing people will say. And the truth is, so what we're being told is you get to pick your own schedule. The truth is your clientele on some levels picking your schedule. So when I went from owning a shop to owning mobile, especially feeling exclusive mobile, I had to charge a lot more. So when I did the rebranding process for my mobile feeling exclusivity, I had to increase prices significantly because with the shop, the clientele was very, if you guys have heard my Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, McDonald's coffee analogy, my clients were very Dunkin' Donuts and they were lovely. They were so lovely and so sweet. And I was so blessed to have them. But they wanted convenient hours, a good price. I was on the more expensive side, but I was right in the middle. So they wanted that. A lot of my clients wanted Mondays and Saturdays because most places were open Mondays. I had a lot of hairdressers and people whose businesses would be closed on Monday, and Saturday because a lot of those people worked Monday through Fridays. So because of that, you can say, oh, well, you don't have to do that. Yes, you're correct. I can say I'm not working weekends, but when I'm building up my clientele, I have to be far more diligent and potentially even get rid of a lot of clients. There's a lot of people who are not going to take a day off each week to come in to, because if they work Monday through Friday and they really want me as a groomer and I don't work weekends, they're either going to have to go in late to work one day a month, or they have to take an entire day off of work, especially if they work like where I am. A lot of people take the train, they go to Boston. Those people would probably have to take the day off. So that is very different. And then when I'm mobile and when I was building my mobile clientele, I built that around that. And that can take a lot of finesse. That can take a lot of learning the hard way. And, if you want to run a shop with, those kind of hours, then you would need a business coach to teach you how to finesse that or honestly hire, in this industry, we really don't have many PR companies and companies that are going to come in and really tell you what you want to do. That's the truth, unfortunately. Um, they have that a lot in your eyelash, your other service base, your eyelashes, your hair salons, your nail salons. They can come in and like, here's the blueprint. This is exactly how it's going to work. And we don't have that really in the grooming industry. But anyway, so if you want that, you're going to have to market that. Now, the nice thing about being an employee here. So an employee, people always say as an employee, I don't make my schedule. But you do, because when you get hired, you tell the business owner what hours you're willing to work, right? So if I'm an employee and I don't want to work Saturdays, yes, I do need to find a boss that is willing to not make me work Saturdays. But how much easier is that? And how much less pressure is that? The difference between me saying to my boss, hey, boss, I'm a great groomer. I want to work 3 or 4 days during the week. I want mother's hours like 9 to 2. I'm not willing to work past this time, and I can't work Saturdays because I have children. That is a lot easier because guess what? If my boss doesn't like that, she might fire me and I can find a new job. It's a lot easier to find a new job than new clients. And I'm not talking about 1 or 2 new clients. I mean, in a entirely different clientele. Because if I decide, if I'm an employee, that I'm going to, I have a kid. Let's say I run my normal shop. I'm here Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, let's say 9 to, let's say 6. And then I get pregnant. I have a baby, right? Normal thing that'll happen to, women. So what could happen? If I said, guys, I'm only going to be working 4 days a week. I'm going to do Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 9 to 2 now because of childcare. Well, now you have all those people that were used to picking up between 2 and I think I said 5 or 6. Those people who used to pick up right after they got out of work or could get out an hour early are going to have to rearrange their schedule. Now all those Saturday people have to decide, are you worth the convenience? And one person deciding if you're worth the convenience is a lot easier than, at my shop on a Saturday, we could easily do, we had 5 employees at one point. We could easily do 20 to 40 dogs in one Saturday. That's a lot of clients to lose because if you figure, even if those people are all on a 4-week schedule, you are losing 80 to 160 clients a month. That's a lot of people to convince to change schedules versus one boss. So especially let's be honest, like depending upon how actually good of an employee you are, I find that a lot of grooming salon owners are realistic. They do understand if you have young children and you want to go, they would rather work around your schedule than have you open up down the street and be their competition. At least if they're smart. If you're smart, you won't you're not going to encourage your employee to go out and open up their own business as far as just because of a spiteful thing. And I know it's not spiteful, but as somebody who was working at a doggy daycare, and that's actually part of my story, where I was working at a doggy daycare and they wouldn't give me maternity leave. And I was like, I have to. I was pregnant and, and they said, nope, we can't afford you to, which technically is illegal, but what are you going to do? So part of my story was I was like, well, I guess I have to open up my own business because who's going to take care of me? And they would have honestly probably done a lot better for themselves had they just said, look, and worked with something to do. And is it inconvenient as a business owner? Of course it is. In the 5 years I owned my shop, I want to say I had 3 or 4 pregnant employees besides myself. And it is challenging. It's challenging to have pregnant groomers because it's not easy to groom when you're pregnant. I mean, those people are like, I was fine. I was da, 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 da. Well, good for you because it is difficult to have a bowling ball and be an emotional mess and be grooming. I think that's more realistic, honestly. So we talked about schedule and we kind of debunked that myth. Convincing a clientele or convincing one business owner is going to be easier. So you're more likely to get the schedule you want as an employee. That's very true. So then let's talk about the other thing, not having to groom dogs that you want. So that's another thing that we'll be talking about when we're at a trade show, how it is really nice that if I open up a business, now I opened up a cat exclusive business, and all I want to groom is cats, and I want to groom them for $100 to $165 per cat. High end clientele, da 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 da. So one could tell you that, oh, well, if you want to have your ideal clientele and groom whatever you want, you need to open up your own business. Okay. On some level, that's absolutely accurate. If I want to live in my city and in my town and do this, then I might have to open up my own business. But why aren't we talking about groomers can relocate? It is so common in all these other industries. In Boston, we have a lot of tech people, and they'll move from Boston to Austin, Texas, to Nashville, Tennessee. Some people are actually even moving. Nobody really moves to California anymore, but a lot of California people are moving here. And that's what's so fascinating to me is they just take it for granted. They're like, well, if I get a better offer, I get the perfect job, we're moving. And maybe that's because it's predominantly a masculine industry. And the people that I've talked with that are electricians or, high-end mechanics, like mechanics who are doing like hospitals and things like that. You're like, what kind of mechanic does that? And I should say, like they work on um, like MRI scanners and CAT scanners, things like that. They work on those high-end machines. I should say engineers. I apologize. But they take it for granted that if there's not a job, they're going to move. So we, as women, obviously, we want to stay near family. There's lots of things that we want. But a lot of times it would be really beneficial for us to go and move somewhere where the business would be. And it doesn't have to be permanent. Why doesn't anyone ever say that? You can move. Let's say if I wanted to open up a Feel exclusive business like I did. And I decided that, before I go off on my own endeavor, I want to go work for somebody who is a CFMG, who owns their own business and is looking for a great employee. Right now, if I were to sell my business and I wanted to go work somewhere, I could get a job in Australia. I could get a job in, I know there's job postings in Arizona, Iowa. I believe there's one in Maryland right now. There are CFMG, which is Certified Feline Master Groomer, in case if I hadn't let you guys know that. So I've done dogs for many, many years. I specialize now in cats. But we don't talk about that. We don't talk about that I could go get a job anywhere. So if your skill set, let's say, is standard poodles, why not get a job with one of the legendary groomers? Like, why not, and I don't know if they're hiring, obviously, but you never know. Or why don't you become the star of somebody's show? There are employers who will pay you extra to come and work for them and elevate their industry. If you are a competition level groomer, why not put your resume out there and instead of accepting just straight commission, have them sell where they live? Say to them, all right, tell me all about your area. Have them give you a sign-on bonus. Settle up a minimum salary. There are lots of things you could do to better your situation, and sometimes that's a lot easier than taking out a loan and opening up your own business because you're going to be able to move, you're going to be able to explore and enjoy those things, but also get a guaranteed paycheck. There is no guaranteed paycheck with owning your own business. I'm just going to itch my nose, don't mind me. So what's another myth? So I know with that myth, there is some truth to that. And there's a lot of truth to a lot of myths, right? They're all based on truth. It's just a little twisted. So I went to a trade show. What other myths would they tell me about why I should be my own business owner? So we talked about, we haven't talked about the making the most money, right? And on some level, it is absolutely true. Your income is not capped as a business owner. You can make money doing retail. You can make money grooming as many dogs as you want, creating a specialty, you get to set the prices, et cetera, which is nice, right? But what about an employee? Well, it's weird when now I do agree this industry is way out of the park with the way that prices are. The grooming industry, the 50% commission model is not efficient. It does not work. It does not work. So we really should not be making 50% commission because it's bad for the business owner. That said, all those business owners willing to give you half a gross profit for just showing up, get it, girl. Get it. What we don't realize when we're just employees, and I didn't either when I was just an employee, is that it's really easy to lose money as a business owner because not only are you paying the rent, paying the business insurance, you are also working tirelessly. You are answering the phones, you are booking appointments, you are marketing, you're going to vets' offices and shaking hands, you're putting your reputation on the line, because you are your business for the most part in the grooming industry, and in my area, if we have a bad snowstorm, a couple of years ago, it literally snowed every weekend for 6 weeks. Like bad enough snow that we had to close midday on Saturday, 6 weeks in a row. Do you know how much money I lost as a business owner? Had I just been an employee, would I lost money? Maybe, but it's not the same. Here's the thing. When you're an employee, you lose money when you don't work. As a business owner, you don't get that money from not working, but then you also still have to pay all the goddamn bills. So in our industry, yes, it sucks. And honestly, when you take an employment, you should have a guaranteed minimum or weekly pay. You should, even if you don't work 40 hours, you should have a guaranteed minimum pay. And I would not take a position that didn't offer that. I don't think that that's unreasonable. Especially because it's going to be feast or famine a lot of times, and you have a family to pay. And if they want an employee who's going to be good and loyal, then that costs money. So as a business owner, I can not only not get paid, but have to pay. As an employee, you only lose your money, which sucks. But at least that's better. Can you imagine not going to work, not making your money, and owing your boss $700? That would suck. That is a lot of times what being a small business owner is like. So yes, your money is capped in the sense that you can only do so many dogs a day. But most groomers that own their own shop, they're basically doing that anyway. So if you are a grooming salon owner who is the one groomer, the one person, you do everything, what is really the benefit of owning your shop? Yes, you have control of the costs and everything, but you own your job. So if I was the groomer working for you, I would get, unfortunately, because most of you guys pay this way, which is not the way I suggest. Most of these groomers are getting half. So they get half as an employee, and then you get the other half. And in the other half, you have to pay taxes, you have to pay overhead, and you've got to put padding in case of those 6 weeks where it snows and you have to pay the rent, even though your groomers didn't really make anything and neither did you. So you have the worst of both worlds. The one groomer owner is the worst of both worlds. When you have a business owner, you have some extra money you're making and you can start building that up. So if your options are, honestly, financially, the one groomer owner, and that's forever. That's not a season. If this is a season in your life, if this is 3, 4, 5 years, and then you're going to grow your business, or 3, 4, 5 years, and then you're going to sell or move or this or that, that's fine. But if you're going to do the 20-year single groomer owner, there's not a lot of meat on the bone to go ahead and save for retirement and grow your business enough that you can do anything with it. Replace things because eventually they break down. I love when people say dryers last 20 years. No, they do not. And in 20 years, your dryer is so obsolete, get a new one. But to be an employee, you don't have a lot of those responsibilities. You're not tied down. think about when you're an employee. If you're getting that money, yes, you're capped because you can't hire other people to do more work, but your skills can get better. You can learn how to groom more dogs. You can learn how to do better grooms and move to a shop that appreciates that. A lot of shops, it doesn't matter if you can hand scissor a dog. That's great, but they care more about speed. And some places would rather you do 5 dogs and they're going to charge more because it's higher quality. So it's all about what it is that you want, need, etc. And as an employee, you have to remember that. I mean, you could literally, in the time it takes the average business owner, you could work a full-time grooming job and then a part-time grooming job. You could be making bank just like that. So don't feel like that's a problem. That's not your problem. So we talked about all those. What's another myth? And this will be the last one because I feel like these are enough that you can start working with and thinking about it the other way. Another myth about people saying that you should be a business owner. And hang on one second, I have a dry mouth. I'm going to take a drink. Thank you. They talk about almost this prestige about being a business owner. And I always think it's very interesting. And they're always talking about how proud you're going to be as a business owner. And absolutely, if you're a business owner, you should be proud. It's an accomplishment, but it's not the only accomplishment. It is very, very difficult to master being the best business owner and being the best groomer. There's really only so much time in the day. And if you're going to work yourself towards mastery, which one would you rather be? Would you rather become the best groomer you can or the best business owner? Personally, I switched to cats because cats, there are less variation of breed. That's just the truth. Even though we have lots of breeds, for a cat, there's really 3 haircuts: a line cut, a comb cut, and modifications besides creative. And creative is such a different market. There's 3 cuts. Everyone gets a bath and blow dry. I don't have very much difference in texture of coat and size. There's not really any scissoring except for a Persian's face. So there's less variation. So I was able to master that skill. And I want to shout out to the National Cat Groomers Institute. Thank you so much. You made that possible to get my CFMG. But in dog grooming, and this was something I really struggled with too. I went to a grooming school where we got a leg. Like we had 4 groomers on 1 dog. And that was it. We got a quarter of a dog a day. That's not enough dog. So, learning how to master that, now you've got to go to trade shows, or you can work with another groomer. But if you're the business owner, you're not going to, you're usually not going to hire a groomer who's a better groomer than you to work with you and teach you. It's really not what happens. You can definitely pay to have people come in to train you. Lots of people do mentorships and things like that, but that all costs money and it all costs time. And when you are the bookkeeper and the marketer and the groomer and you're doing everything to learn how to do that other stuff, there's not much left in your life. There's not really time for your own animals. There's not really time for family or fun things outside of the grooming industry. And that's really tough. That's very isolating. And on the flip side, you might be doing all learning how to be a better groomer, but on the flip side, to be a better business owner, do you go to trade shows for not just grooming, but also go to seminars for business owners? How many? How often? How many books are you reading on growing your business? Are you learning about all of the ways that you could be marketing? When was the last time you updated your website? Are you posting on Facebook or Instagram or whatever social media that you should be daily or weekly? How are you growing your business? All of these things, that takes time. And if you are grooming 30 to 40 hours a week, and then you are doing back office stuff, bookkeeping, deep cleans, things like that, another 10 to 20 hours a week, then you want to put on mastery of grooming, easily 5 to 10 hours a week, and then master your business 5 or 10 hours a week. It's like 90 hours. That's insane. It's got to be more than that. That you die. You just die. It doesn't make any sense. So, but you can do these in different seasons. And this is where I think there's such a sweet spot for being just an employee. Imagine instead if you were an employee and you were able to master grooming, gain your skills, save for retirement, save your finances, and instead of spending all that extra time building your business, marketing, all of that, you built up you. You were debt free. You had 6 months worth of an emergency fund, and you have some kick-ass skills. And you were sitting pretty. And then you could save every penny you had that you needed to open a business cash. That's a very different business owner than an employee who's just really pissed off at their boss and one day decides they're going to go open up their own business. Those are very, very different groomers. If you open up a grooming salon and you don't have to worry about your retirement, it's very different. And I never call out names, but I really struggle to connect with people that with grooming, I really honestly, and I would love to talk more about my blog article about hobby grooming versus professional grooming. There are a lot of women who have husbands or a significant other who pays all the bills, and their business is basically a hobby. And I can't relate to that, unfortunately. I really wish I could. I am the sole provider in my household. If I don't make money, no one makes money. Like there is no mortgage fairy coming down, sprinkling money into my account. And so, yes, when I opened my business, it was really scary because there was no hope. I couldn't fail. If I failed, we would lose everything. And even now, if I fail, I would lose everything. And that's very different than had I, if I had known what I knew then, now, what I'm saying, known now what I know, known then what I know now, goodness, I probably would have gotten a high paid, consistent grooming job and saved for a retirement and focused on all of these things. But that's why my journey's brought me to a different place so that way I can help you guys, because there's nothing wrong with being just an employee, whether that's for a few years. If you're young and you don't know where you want to live, go try a couple of places around the country. Go do it. Why not? Now's the time. If you have young children, do you really want to be tied to a business? Do you want to, your kid calls out, and yes, if you have the right clientele, you can do that, but you have to make sure you build that clientele properly. And a lot of business owners, and I love going through Facebook. I really do. But sometimes you guys make me just shake my head because the numbers don't add up. I cannot tell you how many people run successful businesses that are not making any fucking money. Pardon my French. They're not making any money. You're liars. Like the math doesn't add up. They'll say, I'm charging $100 an hour. And then they're saying, oh, I only work 20 hours a week, but I have all this money. And I'm like, okay, well, how much did your build out cost? And they'll be like, well, my husband's a carpenter. I'm like, okay, well, that helps. If you have a family member who will do the build out for you, that helps. And if your dad gives you a free trailer, that would help. And all these things, like they just don't make any sense. And because we are such a diverse array of people in this industry, we always have different experiences. And some places are cheaper. But when you really look at it, it is very, very, very difficult to make enough money if you are the sole provider for your family, working 30, 40 hours a week as a business owner, because that's the truth. If you're grooming 30, 40 hours a week, that's not all you're working in your business. And if that's all you're working in your business will eventually crumble. Or your body's going to give out. And when your body gives out, you'll have nothing saved. and we have nothing saved and your body gives out, you become one of those people that post on Facebook that, post, how do I not groom till I die? How do I not go to work every day in pain? And that's what I want for you guys. So I want to say, like, whether it's for a season in your life or forever, there's nothing wrong with just being an employee. You have so much freedom being an employee, and nobody really tells you that. And what's nice is that a lot of groomers would be amazing bosses because most people that are good, that are groomers, open up their own business, right? So then all those groomers that would make great business owners instead of just only being the one solo groomer would love to hire you. But they can't hire you because the only people left on the market are the crazies. And we know that to be true. I mean, how many times, if I did 10 interviews, I would say 6 out of 10 are crazy groomers. And we're all crazy. Like, there's a difference between, like, like the way I act when I see like an exotic kitten. I'm like, or when you see, like, I don't know, a poodle puppy or something, whatever it is, it's like, you're like, oh my God, it's so cute. Like, I need you. Versus, like, yeah, they're doing crack in the bathroom, or, they're like thinking about stealing someone's dog, or they're going to steal all your scissors out of your drawer. Very different. Cute, crazy, crazy, not good. So I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. I know this is kind of controversial. I really wish we could talk more about the benefits of being an employee. And I mean, I could keep going on, but I think these are some really solid starts. And the next time you go to a trade show, and if you are a business owner, take a business class. And if you're an employee, think about, do you love being an employee, or are you going to be on your way to own your own business? And the grass is always greener on either side. As a business owner, there are days when I'm like, I wish I could just punch in my clock, groom, get the hell out of there. Lots of days. And when I was an employee, I was like, man, they're taking all my money. I wish I had more money. And it's just different. Or I wish I could fire this client, but I can't because I'm not the boss. So there are definitely benefits to either side. But if you love to groom and your goal is to become a competition level groomer, or you want to grow and learn, or maybe you just want to have more of a life. I mean, as a business owner, you have a lot less life. And by life, I mean free time. And everybody has a different interpretation of free time. I really like reading 10 books a month. Supposed to say 4, but lately it's been 10. And that's because I'm not really dating. If I was dating, it'd be 4. But I like doing that, so I don't mind doing that. But if you're the kind of person that likes to go out camping with your friends or have more free time, being a business owner will definitely stifle that, at least until you get to the point in your financial state where you have no debt, you have a great emergency fund, and you've saved a lot towards retirement. So I want to thank you guys so much for coming and staying with me today on our live. I hope this was really helpful. I hope this was insightful for you. I hope maybe this changes a few people's minds. And business owners, feel free to send this to your employees. And employees, feel free to discuss. Talk to your business owner if you have questions. Like, if you're hired by somebody that you're thinking about leaving, you have to tell them that you're thinking about leaving. But go ahead and discuss with them. And learn the truth. If you're like, oh, I wish I could have better hours, really look at how often your boss is there and how long they've owned the business in order to be there. It's really not fair to say, like, oh, my boss is only here 2 days a week. And you go, well, how long is she on the business? 35 years. And you're like, well, at 35 years, she can come and go as she pleases, right? She was 35 years ago, she was grooming, there were no electric clippers back then. And it took we're so blessed. It takes so little time now to blow dry a dog. So thank you so much for your time, guys. I hope you have a great rest of your week. I hope you had a great Labor Day. Happy grooming, guys. Oh, and if I hadn't said it before, let me bring that back up. Feel free to join nope, can't tell you that because it's actually already closed. I'm sorry. And if you want to learn more about becoming more financially sorry, that's literally my cat litter box texted me. I would love to show you guys more about personal finance, and I have an online course called Personal Finance in a Leash. As usual, you're welcome to come back here every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and we talk about ways to grow wealthy in the grooming industry. And I try to make them kind of lighthearted topics, and I hope you appreciate that. I also have a blog that is savvygroomer.com/blog. And if you want to come and join in my community, I have a fantastic Facebook group called Finances for the Grooming Industry. You're very welcome to ask to join that as well. So, as usual, guys, thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a great evening. Happy grooming, guys.